It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning we could play with the latest iteration of very easy meditation. I teach meditation from the secular and rational worldview. Why is there a drawing of copulating Buddhas? Because this serves as the iconography of this icon reminds us of the four primary benefits of mindfulness and meditation. Let us begin with the first of four phases of mindful crease counting. The luxury electric vehicle of mindfulness and meditation traverses the smooth road afforded to us by Anu Yoga's energy work. There are many flavors of energy work. The one I feel is most efficient is mudra, or finger gesture oriented. I'll break it down. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply that by 8 using our left hand not to count inhalations, but sets of 12 inhalations. 1, 2, first, second set of 12 inhalations, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth set of 12 inhalations. This is our first of four phases. We keep track of these phases in the following manner. We keep track of the first phase by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so gently invites our subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Now, this amount of information could feel overwhelming. Take solace in the fact that repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, you could master the Buddha's Eightfold Path. What if enlightenment was nothing mystical or magical or elitist or spooky? What if it was simply getting so good at the Buddha's Eightfold Path that we practice it, that we master it to the point of practicing it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively? Now, I don't know about you, but I'm lazy and I get overwhelmed easy. That's probably because of my neurodivergence. So I take great solace in this fact, that by simply practicing the seventh fold, which is mindfulness, and the eighth fold, which is meditation, the remaining six folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path actually take care of themselves. Come, let us view mindfulness and meditation through the lens of neuroscience. After, of course, 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Oh, won't you please chant with me? Of course, that reminds me of a song from, a line from Freaking a Leash. So now in the back of my head, I can hear the vocalist Racorin. Don't worry, I won't try to imitate him. Together. The nudity of the archetypical couple sporting and tantric union reminds us of the vulnerability so crucial to mindfulness. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. Since the Neolithic Revolution, most societies have conditioned us as human beings to be so rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel that we will actually denigrate those around us who are striving, like the Buddha, to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, whether or not the Buddha was real or merely archetypical. So when people who are rigid fancy themselves as meditation teachers, it should not surprise us when they implore their students to actively focus and actively analyze. Now here's the trick. The discrete neural pathways that are capable of performing those actions are those found in regions such as the medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overwork this area and it triggers our almond-shaped amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, which are the opposite goals most people have when they decide to meditate. Most people would rather be peaceful and loving than anxious and cranky. Fortunately, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex do not comprise the entirety of our central nervous system. Let us begin with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired by evolution to access our sympathetic nervous system, which is found in the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us notice in a very special way, to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. But notice what? Notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, such as emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. This seems like a whole bunch of things, like we're being asked to ride a unicycle while blowing bubblegum. Fortunately, there's a shortcut. Silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, and you will gently induce your cerebral cortex to cooperate with the sympathetic nervous system. But what are we to do with all these things that we notice? And that brings us to meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to access our parasympathetic nervous system, divided by the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. As such, it causes that which we perceived during our previous inhalation to literally feel less permanent, and therefore to figuratively feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as powerful as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? Well, one only has to look up. How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand? And now you can see how simply practicing mindfulness and meditation influences our experience of literal impermanence and figurative emptiness. So for the next few minutes, together as a team, let us silently and mentally recite this and ease and harmony with our inhalation and exhalation, that we might induce our brain to cooperate with our autonomic nervous system in perceiving and releasing. The founder of Dzogchen, Prahe Vajra, insisted that the key to the fulfillment of all Buddhist vows is simply finding satisfaction in the sitting, breathing, noticing, and relaxing of mindfulness meditation. As an ends unto itself, not as a means for a greater goal, but as an ends unto itself, like a kitty cat. Sometimes a kitty cat has the zoomies, sometimes it curls up and sleeps, other times it just sits perfectly still like a statue, for the pure pleasure of doing so. If sitting, breathing, noticing, and relaxing is not pleasurable, then, in the words of Bugs Bunny, you have taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque. There are many types of pleasure life can afford us, some coarse and some subtle, some expensive and some free. Familiarize yourself with this free, subtle pleasure, and life, the world could be your oyster. We have evolved the capacity to feel the full spectrum of emotions, from the glorious to the grotesque. We have evolved the capacity to feel fear as a means of survival. Feeling fear is not a spiritual indictment. Our job is not to argue with the fear, or ignore the fear, or indulge the fear. Our job is simple to label the fear as this, as we breathe in, and then to relax as best we can during our exhalation, thus releasing our resistance to the presence of fear. That eventually we can get to the place where whatever fear comes, we let it come. Whatever fear stays, we let it stay. Whatever fear goes, we let it go. It is not our job to repress or argue with our fears, nor is it our job to indulge them. What then is our job? To notice them and relax into our resistance towards them. Welcome to the second of 4 phases of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply the number of inhalations to 96 by introducing our left hand, not to count individual inhalations, but to count sets of 12. Our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth sets of 12 inhalations. To keep track of this, our second phase, we can rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Now that we know what to do with our fingers, let us explore what to do with our mind. Please chant with me. The translucence of the all-good Father and Mother depicted in paintings reminds us of meditation's experience of impermanence and non-graspability. I would like to explore with you the second of 4 benefits of mindfulness meditation. after a quick review. The most efficient way to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, thus inducing our brain to cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system. The most efficient way to release what we perceived in the previous inhalation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, thus inducing our cerebral cortex to cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system. Play with mindfulness and meditation at least once every 12 hours or so, and you will find that it has a calming effect upon the tyranny of the anxiety and aggression latent within our amygdala. Doing so frees us from the tyranny of cruel intentions, cruel communication, cruel conduct, and commerce, which is as competitive as it is cruel. So, together as a team, let us practice. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, please type your question in great detail in the chat window. Welcome to the third of 4 phases of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply this by 8 for a total of 96 by incorporating our left hand. Not to count individual inhalations, but to count sets of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 repetitions for our third phase, or third gathering of 96. We could keep track of that by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. So together as a team, please chant with me. The beauty of sky blue kuntu zangpo and cloud white kuntu zangmo yam yam reminds us of the highest, less spontaneous and uncontrived. Before we explore the third benefit of regularly playing with mindfulness and meditation, let's pause for a spot of review. The most efficient way to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, thus inducing our cerebral cortex to cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system. The most efficient way to practice meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, thus causing us to release what we perceived during our previous inhalation to such a degree that it feels literally impermanent and figuratively as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. Silently and mentally reciting the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation induces our cerebral cortex to cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system. The third benefit of regularly playing with mindfulness and meditation is that it stimulates this pink thing here that kind of looks like the letter C. It stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of compassion and love. Doing so makes possible the highest love, which is not the product of contrived focus or analysis, but rather the fringe benefit of the spontaneous and uncontrived fringe benefit of mindfulness and meditation. That is the best way to practice kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and commerce that is as compassionate as it is cooperative. So, now that we've explained the value of mindfulness and meditation, together as a team, let's play with it during this, our third phase. We come now to our fourth and final phase of mindful crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply that by 8 for a total of 96 by involving our left hand. Not to count individual inhalations, but sets of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 repetitions each. We keep track of this fourth phase by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our subtle energies to coalesce at the crown region of our head. Now that we know what to do with our fingers, let's explore what to do with our mind. Please chant with me. The stability with which Kablu Samanta Bandra sits, and the abandon with which White Samanta Badri sports, reminds us of the effortless effort of centered spontaneity. So, before we explore the fourth benefit of mindfulness and meditation, let us review their execution. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, thus facilitating awareness. The key to meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, thus facilitating release. The more we do this, the more we will find that our choices, utterances, and deeds are flowing from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, not scattered spontaneity. You know, like that time when you have like 4 shots of espresso and then you think you have a genius idea, but it's really just kind of lame. That's a wonderful example of being scattered. What we're talking here is the centered spontaneity that is the fruit of mindfulness and meditation. And this really illuminates the idea of Buddha nature. What if Buddha nature was just a charming Iron Age way of explaining what we now understand in our digital age as kind of like a tripod? What is our Buddha nature? It is, number 1, our sympathetic nervous system's capacity to notice, our parasympathetic nervous system's ability to relax and release, and our anterior cingulate gyrus's capability of experiencing empathy. Every healthy human being is born with these 3 components. So there is no mystery, there is no magic. Each of us can master this path in a week or 2. Let's practice right now. Mindfulness and meditation is simply finding satisfaction in sitting, breathing, noticing, and releasing. May we joyfully relax into the perfect the perfect imperfections of our Buddha nature. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours or so, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.